Plus, Husson University joining other schools across the nation in requiring students to be vaccinated against COVID-19.
And the Maine Department of Agriculture is working to get the word out on the impact of invasive species in Maine. Those stories and more as ABC 7 News at 6 starts right now.
This is ABC 7 News at 6.
Good evening, everybody. I'm J.R. Mitchell.
And I'm Beth Jones. Thank you for joining us. First tonight, lawmakers met in person at the Augusta Civic Center today to vote on a number of bills.
David Horowitz is in Augusta and has more details. David?
Good evening, JR and Beth. I am here live at the Augusta Civic Center where lawmakers met in person today, and one bill that's gaining a lot of attention is an affordable housing bill. Now, I spoke with lawmakers on both sides of the issue. Let's take a look at what happened. Speaker of the House Ryan Fecteau, a Democrat from Biddeford, is sponsoring the bill, which, if passed, would create a commission to address affordable housing. His proposal is to establish a commission of experts to guide the process.
Coming to the table to figure out a way in which we can create an incentive for municipalities to change zoning and land use restrictions that are preventing housing from being built in the first place.
He says a lot of the regulations that were put into place years ago no longer make sense.
We've got this law on the books, this ordinance on the books for 30 years. We haven't looked at it since then, and it's preventing housing from being built.
Several lawmakers are advocating for the bill.
We need housing in places that are close to jobs, that are close to amenities such as libraries and grocery stores and parks. But our zoning laws and ordinances today don't necessarily allow for that. So that's what this commission is going to bring to the state of Maine.
Lawmakers agree Maine is in a housing crisis.
That one of the main obstacles to companies looking to bring workers to Maine is that it's very difficult to find places for them to live.
The bill was tabled the last time the full legislature came together, but today it's receiving bipartisan support.
We worked on some legislation 2 years ago that helped free up some money to use for federal matching purposes in developing old public buildings into affordable units. So it worked very well, and I'm very supportive of it.
He says he thinks it will get enough votes to get enacted. It will now go to the Senate for another vote before heading to the governor's office for a signature. And even though it has a lot of support from lawmakers on both sides, it still has a ways to go before it becomes a law. One other bill that's gaining a lot of attention is a balloon bill, and it's from Representative McDonald. That has a lot of debate whether or not it should get passed. It would penalize people for letting balloons go up into the air. They say it's not eco-friendly. Some people, though, say children are children, and they're just going to let balloons go. So we'll keep you updated on both those bills later tonight. Back to you guys at the desk.
All right, David, thank you very much. Meanwhile, the Somerset County Commissioners are awarding grants to several organizations in the Skowhegan area. Brooke Riley explains what this will bring to that community.
Somerset County Commissioners are awarding grants to support several projects in different industries throughout the county.
It's outdoor recreation, production, manufacturing of local goods, so I think it's a true testament to a public-private partnership.
According to Savage, the money is coming from dedicated tax revenue and community benefit funds.
In the last few years, they've really looked at projects and organizations they can help fund, and I think today is probably one of the best displays of that. One in terms of number of awards and dollars awarded.
This funding will help cover the remaining costs of permitting applications for the river park, which will include multiple features to draw people to the area.
There will be 2 enhanced whitewater wave features right in the gorge here, right in downtown Skowhegan. And the first feature will cater to more paddling, and then the second feature, which will be down at the middle rapid here, the second feature will actually be an adjustable surf wave.
Grants are also going to the Somerset County Humane Society, Maine Plywood, Valley Riders Snowmobile Club, and Bigelow Brewing Company.
We think that by revitalizing this building, it'll be an attraction. People will stop, and it'll not only help Bigelow, but it'll also help drive foot traffic to the downtown area.
We're going to create a lot of jobs here, and it's going to be help the logging industry because we're going to be buying a lot of logs and it's going to be a win-win for everybody in the state of Maine.
A Somerset County commissioner says the pandemic impacted the area greatly, and these grants will help with recovery.
This is a really important time for us to get back on our feet, provide jobs for the people in the community, and bring people here to see what we have to offer in Somerset County.
In Skowhegan, Brooke Riley, ABC 7 and Fox 22.
Well, Bath Iron Works is in danger of having the Navy cut construction on one of 2 destroyers planned for 2022. Today, all 4 members of Maine's congressional delegation signed a letter to President Biden saying any decrease in shipbuilding at the Maine shipyard would be detrimental to workers. The letter was prompted by reports that the Department of Defense is planning to order only 1 destroyer next year. The letter stated building at least 2 ships per year was part of a 2018 agreement between the Navy and BIW. The letter also said building fewer destroyers would signal China's lead over the U.S. Navy.
Well, in other news, the Somerset County grand jury handed up indictments to 26 individuals. Of those indicted were 50-year-old Mark Walston of Newport. Walston was indicted on 7 counts, including arson, burglary, and refusing to submit to arrest in connection with a campfire and multiple burglaries on Ledge Drive in Long Pond Township in January of this year. The grand jury also indicted 46-year-old Joseph Chambers of Palmyra and his son, 26-year-old Devin Chambers of Augusta, for an incident on the interstate in April in which the elder Chambers was indicted on 7 counts, including criminal speed, criminal OUI, eluding an officer, and driving to endanger. The younger Chambers was indicted on 4 counts, including assault on an officer and interfering with an arrest. The high-speed chase that the 2 were involved in began in Pittsfield, reaching speeds of up to 105 miles per hour, with 2 officers having to be treated for their injuries received during that incident.
And in Washington County, a grand jury handed up an indictment for a Calais man in connection with an arson fire last November. John Bennett is charged with 1 count of arson in connection with a fire in Calais. According to a statement from Maine State Police, fire marshals arrested Bennett in connection with a November 3rd fire on Lafayette Street in Calais. The fire marshal's office said an investigation had determined that the fire had human help getting started.
Well, this week is National Invasive Species Awareness Week, and the state of Maine has some unfriendly visitors that have made their way into our state. Stephanie Wittenbach has that story.
According to Gary Fish, the state's horticulturist, invasive species affect Maine's people, trees, and water.
Ones that people are really suffering from right now, like brown-tail moth and hemlock woolly adelgid, emerald ash borer. And then we have invasive plants like Norway maple and buckthorn and barberry.
He said people can get terrible rashes from the brown-tail moth. They can also kill oak trees and affect fruit trees.
Some things that you can do, one is to always use firewood that's provided by campgrounds or buy firewood locally and not move it around. We try to encourage people to not move it more than 10 miles.
Fish said he wants to get the word out as much as possible so people can be aware of how to prevent the spread of invasive species. He said anyone can adopt a hemlock tree and look out for the invasive species by monitoring it and keeping track of any hemlock woolly aldage. People will be trained and be able to identify and survey the tree.
Hemlock woolly adelgid came over on hemlock trees that were probably brought from Japan, and then they have spread from the central part of the United States into Maine.
Fish said some of the invasive plants that got into Maine came in a harmless way.
They arrived because many of them were actually sold by our nurseries in the past. And we learned over time that many of those plants were not something that we should continue to sell or plant because they were taking over forests and other habitats and ruining them for our wildlife.
Reporting for ABC 7 and Fox 22, I'm Stephanie Wittenbach.
Well, if you were doing anything outdoors today having to do with planting or just getting some yard work done around the house, a picture-perfect day. Couldn't ask for a better day.
You know, we've really been lucky this week. We've had some real jewels in the ground for the fourcast this week.
But then comes the weekend. Not so much a jewel.
That is the
shtick.
That is the shtick.
That's right. We'll find out just what's ahead in our first weather with Jeff Weller. Jeff?
the Maine CDC is reporting 202 new COVID-19 cases in the state. That brings the total number of cases in Maine since March of 2020 to 66,315. 2 more people have died, bringing the statewide death toll to 807. Between first and second doses, nearly 1,327,000 vaccinations have been administered. For more information, you can visit the Maine CDC website.
Well, today, the Department of Health and Human Services says they're going to create a new way for people to get the vaccine against COVID-19. According to DHHS Commissioner Jean Lambrou, they are launching an online application for organizations to use to request an on-site clinic. Lambrou says this can be used if organizations have 10 or more people who need to be vaccinated. It's free of charge, and they will connect the organizations with vaccination services. Lambrou says the goal is to reach remote parts of the state and communities where the vaccination rate is low.
We are excited to offer this new opportunity, and it's yet another example of how we are at this phase of vaccination where we're not just expecting people to come to sites, we're trying to move those sites to where the people are.
Well, the application will be posted today and is open to any group.
Well, Hudson University is joining the ranks of colleges and universities across the nation requiring a COVID-19 vaccine for students before they return to campus this fall. Melissa Falcone has more.
Requiring students to receive a mandatory COVID-19 vaccination has raised controversy across the nation. Eric Gordon, Director of Communications at Hudson University, says there are perks to this mandate.
Getting vaccinated is something we feel here at Hudson University is the best way to protect an individual's health. It's also when we all collectively do it, we're all protecting each other's health as well.
Gordon says these upcoming months are an ideal time for students to get vaccinated.
Hudson University would say to students who have not been vaccinated yet is we're strongly encouraging you, take time during the summer, go get vaccinated.
Students at Hudson University are hopeful for the fall semester, and that all starts with the COVID-19 vaccine.
I think at first they're not going to probably want to get the shot. Just, teenagers don't like shots. I mean, I think a lot of us can admit it, but when you look at what can happen when we get this, we're going to be back probably as close to back to normal as we can. And that's really all that matters.
Here is a list of schools in Maine that do require the vaccination before the fall semester.
And we're looking forward to having a more traditional type of campus experience in the fall.
Reporting in Bangor for ABC 7 and Fox 22, I'm Melissa Falcone.
Again, all these small steps, just one step closer to returning to a bit of more normalcy.
And students really have borne so much of the impact of the senior years disrupted, really just education horribly disrupted. So you really hope that we can see that increased normalcy come this fall for really all students.
Exactly. Well, still to come on the ABC 7 News at 6, Brewer Parks and Rec preparing activities for the coming summer months.
And in sports, the UMaine baseball team is down to its final chance to make the conference playoffs, what it's going to take to win, and more after the break.
Welcome back, everybody. Finally tonight, the Brewer Parks and Recreation Department is gearing up for summer. The department has a number of activities for both children and adults. Brewer Parks and Recreation Director Mike Martin says there are camps and swimming lessons for kids, and teens will have volleyball available, adults, aerobics, and yoga classes. They're all available.
A number of youth sport activities go on during the summer. We have golf, tennis, cheering. Youth football camp will be new this year. So if you're into the athletics, there's a number of different activities to choose from.
Well, Martin says currently they are having kids wear masks, but the rec center will change when the state mandates are lifted on the 24th. He says it's been a tough year, especially for the kids, but he says the camps and activities will definitely be offering them some summer fun this year. Remember, last year, so much discouragement going into the summer. This year, so much positivity to look forward to, and it is an exciting time as things are reopening and getting going for the summer in the state of Maine.
You hope to see a real uptick in wellness on multiple levels with the ability to get outside, interact, have some fun.
Exactly. Well, that is all the time we have. We'll see you right back here tonight at 10 and 11.
Good night, everybody.